Hey guys, it's the Annotator. I want to do a brief review of Knives Out, Rian Johnson's follow-up to The Last Jedi. And without making this a joint review of both of those films, let me just say that while I respect The Last Jedi for reasons I'll break down when I eventually do a video on it, Knives Out subverts the audience in a brilliant and rewarding way that engages them and makes them feel satisfaction. And in my opinion, it's Johnson's best work since his debut film, Brick, which was released 15 years ago at this point. So let's talk about subversiveness. The word subvert stems from the Latin word subvertere. I don't know if I'm saying that right, which means to overthrow. Ironically, in literature and writing, the word means to undermine, as in go against a trend or a trope, to essentially anticipate an audience's expectation and deny that expectation. Subversiveness in popular cinema has become a lot more frequent recently, with franchise IP most related to or literally featuring superheroes, using it as something like a shield against accusations of unoriginality. Not coincidentally, The Last Jedi wielded subversiveness like Excalibur, cutting down the tropes The Force Awakens alluded to and set the sequel trilogy down a path toward. Subversiveness by nature should be exciting for an audience, and it usually is, even if it's also a little maddening, like I think it was in The Last Jedi. But there are certainly varying levels of subversiveness, in my opinion. The Last Jedi, I would argue, is more basic tier in that it takes an assumed outcome and just makes the actual outcome a hard opposite. I think that's why so many Star Wars fans use the word disrespectful when speaking poorly of the film. It wasn't just that the story beats that were hinted at didn't come to fruition, but Johnson seemed to go out of his way to write new beats that were on the other side of the spectrum in direct opposition to what was kind of alluded to by J.J. Abrams in the first film. Knives Out, however, is in a galaxy brain tier of subversiveness. The entire film is a rope of plot twists, so I don't think I can explain it with any narrative details. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that hasn't seen the movie yet. But it essentially leads us into a familiar scenario, a classic murder whodunit that gives fair motive to several suspects, then breaks convention at the end of the first act, flipping our expectation of the story and also its structure, resetting itself as a different type of familiar narrative, then flipping against the new trajectory established by the most recent flip, and this happens 3 or 4 times. It doesn't just tell our expectations no, it redirects them into new expectations, and again and again. When we arrive at the finale and we get the hard-set explanation in a genre-familiar Sherlock-esque retelling by Daniel Craig's hilarious character, himself a subversion of the detective archetype, it's a fresh, layered ending that's incredibly clever, satisfying, funny, and an encapsulation of the exercise of subverting storytelling and more specifically Hollywood movie cliches. Beyond the plot, the characters are beautiful farces performed with a pitch-perfect mix of camp and empathy. Honestly, among the most enjoyable studio films I've seen in the last couple years. Great for story and plot is a double plus. Structure and pace, characters, and dialogue also double pluses. Cinematography is a double plus, by far Steve Yedlin's most impressive effort in my opinion. His images recall iconic genre frames and imbue themselves with subtle goofiness that befits the film's tone, not to mention some shots that are just masterfully composed, such as the one at the end of the second act, when our then prime suspect meets a mystery person to trade for a damning piece of blackmail. You'll obviously know it when you see it. Directing and editing are double pluses. VFX is a plus, though used sparingly, and score is a plus. A winky little backdrop that enhances the film's dramatic shifts. That was actually composed by Nathan Johnson, Rian's cousin, so that's pretty cool. Final thoughts here. Rian Johnson at his best is Knives Out, bending genre combinations to his wit and into a unique and ingenious murder farce. I'm rating Knives Out a 9 out of 10. And that is it. Thank you guys for watching. I told you it was going to be brief. There's not a whole lot that I can dig into with Knives Out without spoiling anything. One of my favorite channels, Just Right, I believe, did a nice little breakdown of Knives Out and how it changes genres mid-film, which I think is very accurate and a pretty astute observation on his part. It's a great video. I'll link it down below. If you enjoyed this brief review, please leave a like. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that. It would mean a great deal to me. and help other people find this channel. Let me know what your thoughts were on the film. I have talked to a lot of people that did not like the film. If you are such a person, then let me know what you didn't like about it, why. I would love to start a discussion with you. All right, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next review.